Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. This is Shirley with Spirit Center. Now, before I will make a screenshot of this so it will be easier to return. And this episode is actually one study case of organization that is founded as guerrilla. And perhaps the 22 catch of what people call freedom fighters, guerrilla wars, to bring upon whether liberation or foundation of a new political. Before I will begin, I will, as always, look at the chart of the day. So this is Moon Day, Jupiter hour. Let me make sure. Oh, the ascendant just went from Jupiter ruled to Saturn ruled, but I began this with the Jupiter ruled midheaven. And probably a Jupiter ruled ascendant. So Jupiter. Now it turned to Mars ruled ascendant and midheaven by Saturn. With Jupiter it was third house, retrograde in 10 degree Taurus in here, and the moon in 26 degrees Leo applying to oppose Saturn. So this is the chart of the day. Sun 13 degrees Scorpio, Mars 17 degrees Scorpio, Mercury 24 degrees Scorpio, Venus separating from the opposition to Neptune. Okay, so a lot of realization if we've been with Venus, if we have been over optimistic or idealizing, we can now have a bit of a disillusionment. Or if we have been feeling let down and oppressed and helpless, we might gain our power a bit more. Saturn, 0 degrees Pisces direct. Lilith there in 3 degrees Virgo. Uranus, 21 degrees Taurus. Pluto, 28 degrees Capricorn. And that's where we are. So let's go to the topic of the day. And I think this planetary election, the hour and the day are okay to talk about this. And this is, we are looking at the chart of foundation of Hamas organization. For some reason, I see Venus, perhaps denoting Isis. I don't know. 9 December 1987 in Gaza City. It's written Israel, but Gaza City is Palestine. I don't think Gaza is Israel, a city in Israel. So this we have ascendant, 18 degrees Pisces, midheaven, 22 degrees Jupiter, Sagittarius. Both are Jupiter ruled. Jupiter itself, 19 degrees Aries, trining Sun, Saturn, and not really Uranus, but Sun and Saturn. In Sag, we have a stellium in Sag, so Mercury 9 degrees Sag, which is Mercury conjuncting Antares. Okay, but Mercury is in detriment there. And perhaps this is why they use children so much. Sun 16 degrees Sag, and Saturn and the midheaven conjuncting each other in 22 degrees Sag. Okay. Uranus, 26 degrees Sag, by the way, on my midheaven. So, Neptune, Capricorn, 6 degrees. Venus, Capricorn, 14 degrees. So, Venus and Neptune are also ruled by this 22 degrees Saturn in Sag. Pluto, 11 degrees of Scorpio, with Mars in 10 degrees Scorpio. The transit is for November 6th, so it's for today. Oh, lovely. So this is from Twitter, as I take this from a person called Star Heel, who gave this birth chart of Hamas. I did not find it anywhere else, so I don't know how it is derived, but it looks very reasonable, and I will tell you why. But before that, Rahu here is 28 degrees Pisces. So Ketu, 28 degrees. And this means also descendant, which could be political partners and enemies at 18 degrees. Ooh, wow. 18 degrees Virgo. Why am I saying wow? Because at 12 degrees Virgo, we have sitting pretty the ascendant of PLO, but also Palestine. Okay, with my previous episode. So before I'll talk about the connection to Palestine, just look at this chart. Before any transits, nada. Just look at this chart. And I want to bring in Nicolas Stojanovic degree theory. Because without Nicolas Stojanovic, you will not be able to do what I'm doing right now. Maybe you will see other things, but you will not be able to do, and you can idealize a lot if you don't know what I know. 18 degrees, malefic degrees to do with perhaps death, perhaps poisoning. It's a degree that brings illness, ill will or illness. Okay, and so while the ascendant is Jupiter ruled in Pisces, it is in the 18th degree, and 18th degree of any sign is malefic. Okay, but you say, but surely this is organization that's supposed to liberate Palestine. They're supposed to kill people. Of course, they need. Yeah, perhaps this is one way to look at this, but I will tell you how is it 22 catch later. Mars conjunct in Pluto. First of all, Mars conjunct in Pluto is something that for army, perhaps you want to be able to do hidden action, and you want to be able to do to attack something that you need to tend to the core issue. Okay, but Pluto on 11th degree has to do with electricity, with aircraft, communication, mass communication, but also suicide. Okay. And if you think about the Intifada, no, Intifada was PLO, which was suicide bombers. Okay, suicide bombers was also before Hamas. It's just so you know. But the specific degree of Pluto, 11th degree, is degree of suicide. And this is Pluto in Scorpio. So Pluto in Scorpio is could be considered in its home sign, the vicinity to Mars. Although conjunction is a hard aspect, we can't say that Mars and Pluto don't know each other. So very powerful. But then along this we see midheaven and Saturn on the 22nd degree of Sagittarius, with Jupiter 19 degrees Aries. Jupiter, I'm less concerned. Jupiter in Aries is Jupiter that is martial artist. Okay, Aries to do with war, self-assertion, independence. Jupiter in Aries is a good placement. Okay, is optimistic about self-assertion and is also having martial arts wisdom. Not a problem. But the midheaven and Saturn conjuncting, first of all, midheaven and Saturn conjuncting tells us that the mission takes time, longevity, and yes, the mission takes time, has longevity, is very difficult, and it has to do with structure. But the 22 degree is to kill and to be killed. Okay, with the 22 degree, as a native who has Mars in the 22 degree, it's imperative that the people that you kill, you will do anything in power that they will die without suffering. Very important, because it is the degree of to kill and to be killed. Okay? So this is not the time to get cruel with people. Highly important. But Saturn, unfortunately, is not Mars. Saturn also is the lord of time. So Saturn is a slow-moving planet. So you can understand that this is not, it's not in alignment. If there is a planet that we don't want on this degree, is Saturn on the 22nd degree, because that means that the process of death is prolonged, unfortunately. Can be. Saturn also means letting go. It can also mean sudden death, but kill and be killed. And it does mean that the objective of this organization is to kill a structure or to liberate from a structure. Okay, so the raison d'etat is clear. Yeah, it's a war organization that's supposed to fight in order to liberate, form a certain structure, okay, to kill a structure, an oppressive structure. The midheaven and the ascendant are Jupiter ruled. Okay, Jupiter rules religion, philosophy, but Jupiter in Aries is a philosophy of art. Unfortunately, when it comes to religion, it can be a religion of war. If you're thinking jihad, then no, jihadist people are usually, I think they are from the PLO, I think the jihad. I don't particularly think that Hamas and jihad are associated, but the notion of philosophy of war or martial arts, okay, in the highest form, it can be martial arts. It's a courage martial art, and with martial arts, in a holistic, philosophical, we understand that the mission is to bring into balance. Okay, just Jupiter in Aries, and when Jupiter was transiting Aries, the mission is to bring something into balance. So to remove excess energy, what you want is actually peace, okay? Not to kill anybody, not... but the 22-second midheaven Saturn, what it tells me is that not only the objective is to kill, of course, to murder people. This is supposedly like the mini army. Of course, they are intended to murder people. But, and Jupiter here is, by the way, with Aries. So Aries is a Mars ruled sign. You understand? So there's basically the originated to fight against an army, not fight for independence, or fight with army. Okay, it's not supposed to be an organization that that was either created or supposed to fight with civilians. I have to admit this is true. Okay, this chart was not a chart of organization that was supposed to fight with civilians, but to fight with army and to kill a structure. So, and also to kill a religious structure or to kill an army structure. But where is the problem? The problem is that for this organization, if they achieve liberation, let's say there is Palestine, goal achieved. This organization cannot lead Palestine because they will have to do something. Either they will have to change the name or choose, but with every changing of the name, people are dying, okay? Because it means that the leaders, not the leaders, but yes, in 10th house is the leaders or the representatives or the people who are known to the public, they will be killed, murdered. He's murdered. He's assassinated. And so if they achieve the goal, they die. Because the longevity of this organization, although it can be quite long-term, and it is, okay, it has had almost 20 years now. It's very close to its nodal return, actually. Okay, so it takes quite a long time, huh? And so this is a 22 catch, because this organization, whoever is associated with this natal chart, they either have to kill or be killed. That's where they are. This is also true in the chart of Palestine. We saw it with the 22nd degree sun. But if they manage to free Palestine, they will be murdered. However, Jupiter in Aries is not sacrificial. Pisces, sacrifice, yes. But this organization has a tension from within that it is highly in a 22 catch, where if it succeeds, it dies. It's murdered. And also to kill Hamas is not so simple. Okay, this is the chart. The problematic planet here is Mars, not Saturn. But Saturn is in Jupiter's sign and Jupiter is in Mars sign. Okay, this is not going to be easy to kill Hamas. And thus, it's not going to be easy to liberate Palestine. I want you to see this. Let's take Hamas put X and Palestine put Y. Organization X with this natal chart is very effective warrior, but it can do everything but achieve its goal. It can kill anybody, but it can never free Y, because if it frees Y, it dies. It is extinct. If the goal is achieved, it's destined to be killed. Eventually, okay? In a natal chart of a person, 22 can mean the person is assassinated. Okay? They may look into or help people or bring awareness to this topic. They can fight for freedom, but eventually their end is very likely to be by assassination. Okay? That's why when you have 22 degree, you want it, if you have to kill, must do everything you can so that the other person that you kill will not suffer. I have Mars 22nd degree in Scorpio. Ever since childhood, if somebody pissed me off, if somebody this, if somebody that, I said, whatever, that the problem will be solved. Okay? But if God forbid somebody has to die, then I don't want them to suffer. I want this to be the most humane death and to be the most humane. And I know this. Only years later, I will learn that I will have the 22nd degree Mars. So, I don't want to inflict suffering upon, even if I have to inflict death, I don't want to inflict suffering. Retrograde, it means responsive, okay? It basically means that if somebody tries to assassinate you, you kill them first. But here is direct. And so, unfortunately for Hamas, death that they are associated with is problematic, okay? And so this adds another, it's not just that they will die, it's also that it's difficult, the transit from this world to the next world. Unfortunately, not easy. And this Saturn is also ruling their 12th house, which is a house of, people say, self-undoing or hidden enemies. Again, it's not the most problematic planet in this chart. Okay, the most problematic is Mars, it's a day chart. But still, perhaps it means that they have the willingness or the understanding that this is what will happen. But still, it is a tension that exists. That they have to be in a mindset that they are sacrificial, that the minute Palestine is founded, they are dead. Or upon their death, there will be Palestine. Maybe, I don't know. But the problem does not finish here. First of all, there is tension between the moon and Pluto and the moon and Mars. It's a wide orb, but it is notable tension. And this, tell me, moon is the people. So if they are here to liberate the people, their action is actually at odds with that, and unfortunately a lot of civilians are being killed with the strategy that Hamas uses. And I'm saying that with zero judgment. It's not about judgment, it's looking at what things are. Because things are intricate. And if you take Hamas and you put X and you take Palestine and you put Y, the situation is what we're talking about. It's very important. Also, Palestine has ascendant where the descendant of Hamas is. It can be partners, but it can also be enemies. It means that Hamas is the partner of Palestine, but can also be the enemy. And the 18th degree basically brings the 18th degree onto the 1st and 7th house of Palestine. It means that Hamas brings element. Now, Hamas was competing with the PLO, but the chart of the PLO is the chart of Palestine. It's the same chart. It's November 1988. I don't remember. It's November 14. I don't remember. 16. No. Yeah, 15. November 15, 1988. Okay. And so for Hamas to win over PLO, of course, they had to bring element, but they inflicted on the chart of Palestine. Now, the chart of Palestine is horrible. They need to outgrow. I have another episode of what should be done to address this, and it's not easy. And it takes time. But for this chart is the bringing element to the PLO. So they won over the election of the PLO. But they're also bringing element to Palestine. And so they're in a situation where, as long as they exist, there is element to Palestine. There is poisoning. 18 can be poisoning. And unfortunately, what happens when Palestinians demonstrate their supposed 7th house, like the enemy, they throw a phosphorus, which is to the breathing, is Jupiter. Unfortunately, this is what happens. And so the strategy, and again, this is a situation where you bring this player in. This is how it changes the scene. Okay, if you play, I don't play chess, but if you play chess, it's a strategy. Okay, so you bring this player, which is Hamas, into the arena, and you juxtapose it with the chart of Palestine. So this brings first of all ailment to the image of Palestine, but also ailment to the international relations of Palestine, poisoning to Palestine. I don't know when did they begin to use phosphorus in the demonstrations. I don't know all that much, but also what is Hamas known for is the Mercury here. The Sun, Mercury, yes, they want to liberate and so freedom. So the word freedom exists, but also can be freedom is associated with killing, and you'd say, okay, if they want to have a country, they don't have a country. Of course, freedom is associated with killing. But the Mercury is problematic because Mercury on the one hand is journalists, and on the other hand is children, and also agreements and trade, communication. But Mercury is on Antares, is a good, very, very good. It means that it's victorious. And usually people complain that the Israelis complain, oh, Palestinians, they always know how to present themselves on the media. But unfortunately, this is also using children to be killed. And children is the 4th house here. Okay. The ruler of the 5th is Moon. But children, which is Mercury, is the 4th house here, and there is the IC on the 4th house. The ruler of this IC is basically children being killed, but in front of the camera. Okay, so and the Moon applying to trine this. So this is a card that Israel always plays. Okay, if we take, yes, because Israel is the 12th house. Okay, the Leo for Israel is the 12th house of Palestine. And so this Moon here, what the card that Israel plays, what is that the Hamas is putting children in front of the warriors so that if IDF shoots, they have to kill the children. And this this is something that we see with the Palestine chart a lot. But this chart, Mercury is in detriment, is in Jupiter's sign, and is an indirect. Okay, Mercury is in Jupiter's sign is detriment, first of all. It means that there is the ideology here relative to children, not good. Okay, the ideology, the religion, the philosophy, okay, or also the children that are a part of Hamas, the youth that is a part of Hamas. There's something in the belief, there's something in the use of children there that is not good. And then the ruler of Jupiter is Mars, which is conjunct in Pluto. In Palestine chart, Mercury is conjunct in Pluto, also in Scorpio. Okay, it's the 12th and 13th degrees, but we see the children are being killed as a war tactic. And Hamas, unfortunately, did not manage to change this war tactic where children are being killed. And then these dead children are known. Okay? But it's bad for the children. And so these children are kind of like necessary to, also the journalists necessary are being killed. Okay? Necessary to maintain the image. Also, Jupiter squares Venus. It's a plane aspect, while Venus is separating from a sextile in Pluto and Mars. So Venus sextile in Pluto and Mars is actually very good. It's a desirable aspect. But Venus is in Saturn's sign. And so what we see is sometimes the stories about the women that are supportive of their children being killed in this way, or the Shahid culture. Okay, the women that we see that are happy for that the child is killed in this way is something that as Israel is something we cannot imagine. Okay, this is like the worst disaster a mother can experience, but it's like the sacrificial thingy, and I think it works this way. But it's square in Jupiter. And Neptune sextile in Mars and Pluto. Okay, there is an understanding that there is a sacrifice to be made, and they are okay with this sacrifice because the actions are in alignment with that Neptune. But the big 22 catch here is that once Palestine is okay, to heal Palestine, to liberate Palestine, basically you need to kill Hamas. Now, it is possible that certain figures, especially some warriors, it's like some figures within this organization are maybe ready to sacrifice themselves so that Palestine will be liberated and to die. But just to know that Palestine will live. But there is also this inherent tension that makes it difficult. And this is not a local, okay? It's a known struggle where you don't have a nation, okay? And so you fight, supposedly, to liberate yourself. But once you liberate yourself, then there is problem because, and if I think about the foundation of Israel, so we had Lehi and Etzel and Haganah, and they were fighting in between them who will be, and the IDF was supposed to be unified. Yeah, not so unified. Okay, so before that they were guerrilla. Yes, people called freedom fighters. After that, they were supposed to be an army. But this is something that we always deal with. Specifically here, Could this organization be the army of Palestine? No, because the ACDC is on the 18th degree of Palestine. The midheaven, you could say, okay, it is, if it's an army, if it's becoming like from guerrilla to an army, then it is, the army is meant to defend, so to kill or be killed. But again, this 22nd degree here will put, even if we didn't have this ascendant, it would put Palestine in a situation where it would constantly be in this situation of to kill and be killed, because the army would die if it doesn't kill. It's like those perpetual conflicts. You know, for a native person, okay, I have Mars in the 9th house, 22nd degree retrograde. So I can reflect upon those situations. Yeah, and I can have teachings like this episode and so on and so forth. Yeah, I don't have to be fighting all the time. I can have teachings, I can learn about the 22nd degree and teach about the 22nd degree, and I can make contribution to the world without being in a situation to kill and be killed. Okay? It doesn't mean that it won't perfect for me, but it means that I don't have to do it all the time. For this army, if you are an army, then it means that this organization has this timestamp that they need to do something with murders. In the highest form, maybe, you know what it reminds me? The story about German tribes. And with German tribes, you had warriors. And if the warrior of the tribe, the people who were warriors, they were made as like caste, okay, they were made to be warriors. And if this tribe was not in war, they would volunteer to other tribes to fight for them, okay? For Hamas to be sustainable with this particular one, then it would have to do something like this. But again, we have the 18th degree ascendant, descendant. It's bringing poison to the international relations of Palestine. And again, it's not a blame shame. I don't know who founded Hamas. I don't know who funds Hamas. I just look at the chart and say, this chart with this chart, what would I change? Different ascendant degree, first of all. Different ascendant degree. Pisces is good. Pisces is Jupiter. Okay? It's not bad. Even Pisces to the last decan of Pisces can be okay. Because remember what I said about the chart of Palestine? With the descendant, okay, though I walk through the valley of death, I shall not fear, for you are with me. Okay, it can be a healing. It can be like, I can't say Red Cross because, you know, but it can be good. So different degree can be good. Midheaven also doesn't have to be 22 degree. Because if there's something on the 22 degree, they will constantly have to fight for somebody or they are dead. And because of the army, Palestine would go into unnecessary conflict. I don't have the chart for the foundation of the IDF, but this could be interesting. So even though the objective of an army is to defend, and killing is a part of it, we might want to actually do enough with the well-aspected Mars. And Mars to Moon is bad thing for guerrilla, because Moon is the people. If you defend the people, you need to have like the trine, okay? Not the square, not the opposition, maybe the trine, maybe the sextile, okay? Because if your protection, Mars defending the people, Moon is the people, okay? So you need very well aspected Mars. Mars in Scorpio is good. Mars conjuncting with Pluto. If Pluto was another degree, okay, but it needs to be well aspected. It's almost, you know, it's well aspected with Venus, it's well aspected with Neptune, but this Moon here, very bad. Also, it is opposing Israel. It is not opposing Israel's Sun. Israel's Sun is in Algol. well, is unaffected by this. Okay. The moon is on Leo, so it's like, oh, the moon, but yes, but it's basically they are undermining Palestine by killing civilians as a result of their guerrilla tactic. So this organization, again, I'm looking only at charts. I'm not a general. I'm not none of that. This chart with the map of the chart of Palestine, not good. I don't think 18 degree has any place in any organization that is supposed to be useful to the nation that it protects. Definitely not if it's, to put the ascendant on the seventh and first axis is reasonable, is rational, because you want the partner to be, okay, Hamas, because you want them to partner each other, to protect each other. It's good thinking, but the 18th degree is bringing element. You want to get rid of that element. And the 22nd degree, again, I would prefer a better Mars, because Mars is war. Okay, so better Mars. Of course, outer planets need to be well aspected. The outer planets are okay here. They're relatively okay. There's the Uranus-Saturn conjunction. That is okay. Pluto is on the 11th degree. That's what I don't like. And Pluto is, even though it's a white orbit, it's a plane aspect of the moon to square Pluto. No. This causes the people to be emotionally disempowered and psychologically disempowered by the organization that comes to protect them. It makes people desperate. And look, what is this moon rule in this chart? 5th house, the children. No. Okay, I'm talking about the election. I don't know Hamas. What we know is only the media. The election for this, not good. Okay, because of the degrees. So we need good Mars, good relations, well aspected moon. If we're protecting the people, well aspected moon. Okay, the sun is okay. If we want to put something on Antares, don't let it be the planet in detriment. Okay, Mercury in detriment, children in detriment. Not good. Not good, and it's causing a lot of trouble to Palestine and a lot of trouble to Hamas. A lot of trouble to Hamas. This is bad reputation. If you want to be an army later, you need to think. Can't use children. Legitimacy. And again, I'm not blaming Hamas because I don't know who elected it and I don't know who decides on things, okay? Actually, Saturn here, Lord of Time, is the hidden enemy. And even though Saturn is the lesser malefic, okay, so you prefer the lesser malefic to rule the 12th, and Saturn is, is of the 12th, but it is bringing like self-undoing. Here's a problem. And it means that the hidden enemy is lethal to Hamas. What else do I see here? So they recently had a Mars return. Pluto is recently, the Sun crossed there, Pluto and Mars as well, also Mercury. They're about to have a Mercury return. Chiron will reach their Jupiter, okay? Oh, they had, the eclipse was close to their Jupiter. They have Jupiter retrograde. It means that they assessing the right philosophy of war for them is tricky. It both means that they think differently when it comes to war strategy, but unfortunately with Mercury here, we see the pitfall. Like, look at this. Jupiter in this chart that rules the 10th house, I would want it direct, not retrograde. Not retrograde. On the one hand, it means you're thinking differently, but on the other hand, it means that what takes you time with Jupiter in Mars ruled is to assess the right war strategies, how to liberate yourself and the ideology of liberation. how do you put war, liberation, and eventually peace, because this is the objective of liberation, and so that you, and Jupiter here finds it difficult to do it, because it tries different belief systems, and usually takes a Saturn maturation, not even Saturn return. Saturn maturation is 36 years for retrograde planets to begin to establish themselves. Okay? And so when the eclipse was not too far from this Jupiter, it means that and now what is in question? The war strategy of Hamas. And even people say, if Hamas will finish him off, then it will be good for Palestinians, and so on and so forth. And people argue, well, Hamas is not in the West Bank, which is a good argument, but if Palestine is Palestine, then Hamas interacts with the chart of Palestine, and so that affects the West Bank as well. Okay, so we have to understand also strategically that Hamas, when it interacts with the chart of Palestine and the West Bank is in Palestine, even if Hamas is not in Palestine, if it is not in the West Bank, because it is with Palestine and the West Bank is also the chart of Palestine, then even if Hamas is not present in the West Bank, it still is affecting the West Bank. Okay, you need to understand it strategically. And here, with Rahu here, it means that there is going to be a new war strategy. And we've seen that this war strategy was highly questionable and could even bring to the desire to kill Hamas. And legitimization to kill Hamas, by whom? By the United States. They have the sun in 16 degrees. The United States has ascended, I think, 17 degrees Sagittarius. Okay, so they have the sun on the ascendant of the United States, and the United States actually saying, okay, we don't like this. We don't like this war strategy. Halas. Okay, we want to kill Hamas. And but with this Jupiter, it's a problem of the chart. No, it's not who is this person. It's this chart. If it was a chart of a person, I would say this person will have a lot of struggle until they establish the right war strategy for them, and always they have to treat children well, because this will be visible. Whatever they do to children, it will be very visible, like the child baked in the oven. People say it's not true. It's not. Even people with Israel now deny this. And it happened. Okay. Children beheaded, it happened. Children kidnapped, it happened. And it's visible. You kidnapped babies, is visible. You're using children as defenders, is visible. Okay, and this is a war strategy that gives a lot of problems to the image of the organization. And I'm not a general. I don't know why people make this up. Of course, war is intricate. Of course, the situation of liberation is intricate. Of course, the entire elections for these countries and for these organizations probably were made also involved with all kinds of secret societies that make it difficult to actually achieve something. Okay, if we take the ascendant of Libra for Israel, it means that the ascendant of Palestine is in the 12th house for Israel, and it also means that Leo, which why Israel is like, we're lions, a nation of lions, a nation of this, sun in Taurus, what lions? We're big purry cats. Okay, it's like, but I know why they said this, because the Mars, Saturn, and Pluto is in Leo for Israel. So the sun is ruling Mars, Saturn, and Pluto. So we are a nation of lions. Where is Leo? Is in the 12th house of Palestine. So when two nations adjacent have the 12th house from each other, what is it? It's like when you put people to fight together because it's hidden enemy of each other. It's orchestrated. It's orchestrated. And where is the sun in that rules the 12th house in the chart of Palestine in 22nd degree? To kill and be killed. And where is Mercury in the chart of Palestine, which is ruling the ascendant? Next to Pluto. Children dying. Palestine in constant struggle, powerfully, in terms of power. Not good. So these things is orchestrated, and of course, probably Hamas is also, probably IDF is also. So again, this is where when the people begin, one of the greatest skills that people need to learn when they found organizations is electional astrology. And so while in here, we see so many planets to do with freedom in Sagittarius, and then the ruler is retrograde of freedom. The ruler of freedom is retrograde. Right now, Jupiter is retrograde in the Taurus, but the ruler of freedom, and look, this is also the ruler of the ascendant. It's a very bad chart. It's a very bad election. Your ruler is retrograde. As election, it means unexpected results. And the 18th degree, was whoever elected this chart was the desire, the objective, the raison d'etre was to bring poison, to spread chaos. Also Uranus here in the 26th degree. Uranus is a great planet, is a revolutionary planet, is a liberating planet, blah, blah, blah. But here the mission was to spread chaos and to put a lot of poison in that chaos. You see what happened with this conflict. And this very weird situation. So, yes, they recently had the moon transiting their moon, lunar return. Venus in their 7th house. Yeah. Actually, I've seen a video of a Palestinian woman saying that they don't want Hamas. Of course, the opinions are different, but you can see this is, instead of Hamas, we could put X with this chart. This election is just poisonous. It's a 22 catch, and it's kind of like bound to, like, everything that you're meant to do is undermined. But your actions are. Just like Mars is in Scorpio, there's a very strong Mars next to Pluto, and the sextile Neptune has a sextile Venus. Okay, they're just like very good action. But the underlined, it's like you're enacting something, you're in harmony with something, but the essence of it is, and very difficult chart. And this is also the 22 catch here, because to destroy this chart is not easy. To grow out of this chart is not easy. First of all, people must acknowledge that they need to treat children well, but the ruler of philosophy is going to take them a lot of time to understand that this is not a good strategy. Well, and yes, also Venus in Saturn ruled Venus is more practical, more pragmatic, and so on. But it's also difficult for them to respect agreements. We know it comes with delay. with the ceasefire. Every time there is a ceasefire, they have to shoot a couple of more missiles, and then there is a ceasefire. Like, okay, we're used to it. But yeah. Chiron. Oh, Chiron retrograde in. Chiron retrograde in Mercury. Yikes, I don't know even where to begin. This is again, it's Gemini is Mercury ruled. Chiron retrograde in 26 degree. And again, this is not a weak organization. It's just that the election for this organization is highly poisonous. It stinks from some interest that wanted to poison the area rather than to make peace and to liberate Palestine and to this. And I don't blame here people in Hamas. I don't know people in Hamas. It's just the election. Okay, somebody who said you're going to meet on this election, and this is not at all. And Chiron in Gemini. Chiron, again, children. So want to do with children. And Chiron retrograde, it means that lack of compassion for children. It's like we have so much troubles of our own, we cannot contain yours. But yours is children's. And the people. The motherland. All I can say is my prayer to the region that we will grow from these charts and we will establish good, first of all, we set intention. We'll set intention to live and let live. Let's set intention to live and let live, to set intention to have good life here, to be inclusive, for everybody to have their own joy in life and live life well and be free and be safe. And answers will come. But you see, this is one answer. When we elect something, there is a chart, and the stars are the stars, but there are things that we can aim for. We talked about Procyon. There's nothing around Procyon here. And there are things that we do want to avoid, like putting the 18th degree in the chart of the 1st and 7th house of a nation, the international relations of a nation. Putting poison. Okay? So when we learn about this, we can be better informed. Okay, so when we say, oh, you're going to meet in this at this time and sign a declaration and blah, 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 you are better informed. Is this a good time for me? Is this a not good time for me? Also, when people say, oh, they don't miss a chance to miss a chance. Take it, you put the elections and you put the chart of the elections and you show why these dates are not fit. And you will see one by one. Is one thing. The intention, set intention, another thing. And to understand the relation between what we want to achieve and the chart. Okay, just because you have a guerrilla organization or it's supposed to be eventually an army, it doesn't mean that you want all the letalities and not to think about anything, because you need to think war strategy like you're already an army. Because if you want to be the army, then the war strategy already an army. You have 22nd degree. Make sure that the intent and whatever you can do, that nobody will have to unnecessarily suffer. Definitely not to kill people unnecessarily. Okay? Definitely. To put children in front of you? No. No, not good. Okay, this is not a strategy that that is useful. You saw it doesn't work once. You saw it doesn't work twice. You saw the children die. Don't keep the strategy. Okay. If you have midheaven on the 22nd degree of any sign, it means that you are thinking like German tribes, so that if you are not in war for this country, you will be in war for another tribe. Okay, so you're like hired army that you go from around to place. Who has conflict? Here we come to help. Okay, I'm not saying it's wrong or bad, but you have to understand this. Because if you stay in Palestine, let's say, or in your country, in Israel, if it was for Israel, okay, you constantly will be fighting to kill or be killed, to kill or be killed, to kill, to kill. Ooh, come on. It's true, every country needs an army, but you don't need to be fighting all the time. You think if people will invade Switzerland, it won't know to protect itself? Do you know how Swiss soldiers train? They don't have guns. They train and then they hold the gun and they say pew pew. I'm not joking. Say pew pew. You think somebody, if they try to invade Switzerland will lose? No. No. Okay? This is strategy. I'm not a general. But common sense is that I don't want my army to constantly be having to fight. You want them trained, you want them skilled, and you definitely don't want them because this means that my country is in the war all the time. And it costs money, bad for the reputation. I constantly have to convince people to do war. War is expensive. You read The Art of War. What does it begin with? How expensive is war? How expensive is besieging cities? How important it is to keep peace? And you only need to know this so that you will know what you need to do, but that's it. If you think about the day after the liberation, then how do you get as close as you can to what you want to achieve right now? Let's say we want, I don't know, Palestine free. Fine. How does the army of free Palestine look like? I think about Switzerland. That all you have to do is to train yourself and so pew pew and get in fit a little, and that's it. That you won't have to fight. Isn't that good? You won't have to fight for your freedom all the time. That is crazy. There are other things to do. But you tell me, surely in Switzerland everybody wants to kill you. Yes, because of their banking system. It's corrupt. I also was suicidal when I went to work. Why? Because every place was corrupt. And I didn't find a meaningful thing. I have Sagittarius, mind you, for a 10th house. And I didn't find the meaningful things to do at work. And every time I tried to find a workplace that is legit, but I felt so disillusioned and so hopeless. Okay, also my Jupiter is in Capricorn, so I don't blame just the world. It's also my chart, what it brings to the table. Okay, I wasn't able to create it for myself. Hopefully that will change. And so I felt suicidal because the meaning, a part of the meaning, the raison d'etre of my life is in the 10th house. I meet heaven in the 10th house. My career is meaningful to me. Look at what I'm doing, this astrology thing. I have Uranus in the 10th house as well. Uranus is astrology. I'm doing this thing. I'm not making money now. But this is meaning for me. I cannot explain this. It's a legacy. It's not legacy. It's because I don't even know if anybody will hear about me. But it's me. I need meaning at work. I need to be doing something good and genuinely meaningful at work. And I was suicidal because I couldn't find this at work. I couldn't. It was driving me crazy. Okay, so but when I was thinking, why is this happening? Because corruption. There was a lot of corruption. Okay, And again, I'm not saying every workplace is corrupt. This is my life path. This is what I experienced in my own career. Fine. As the system was corrupt, and I was trying to do kind in a system that was corrupt, and I didn't find a way to do this. I don't just blame the system. I did not succeed in finding the way to do this yet. So eventually, for Switzerland, because Switzerland, the banking system is very corrupt, and so if you live in such a country, you can be very suicidal. Also, the situation with Israel-Palestine, of course, is debilitating. When I was 12, Yitzhak Rabin was murdered from within the country. I didn't know much. I just knew, they wanted to sign something like a peace agreement, and then he was murdered. And I felt so desperate, like, what can be done? And then, the Nova, when I was in university, I went with one voice to West Bank and Hebron and so on and so forth. I both understood what was the 1936, 70 Jews killed at Hebron suddenly, like in Poland. It's a Shoah. People don't forget it even 3 generations after. As people in Gaza probably, and people in West Bank probably don't forget things either. But I wanted to have a panel of security people, of generals, so that they will say what is the military considerations for solution, for diplomatic solution, for peace. Well, not to elude ourselves, not to say peace, 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 and elude ourselves strategically from the army, so that people who knows what's the word will tell us what is their plan, what do they need, what is needed. And I wanted to, another thing was to have a peace party, because I felt people were so desperate, especially my generation, that we were alive. I was 12 and Rabin was murdered. So we are so desperate, and people feel like they gave up. They gave up. And I wanted people to not feel like they give up, and have a peace party, a hippie party. It was later transmitted to taking down Bibi party, and then I said, no, I don't take part in any of that, because I don't have to agree with the person. I just don't like the concept, and it's also putting power in the hands. If you want to take him down, don't put attention and power in the hands of the person you want to take down. And they turned into V15, which in retrospective I think is connected to secret societies, the V thingy. It was 2015, and I just retired from there. And when the 7th of October happened in the Nova party, it took me a couple of days, but then I remembered the peace party that I was planning, and I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. So, and those who know what I'm talking about, they know what I'm talking about. Sorry, Samuel. I was looking at this chart, and I didn't understand that this jumped, because I was busy talking, and he was writing a post, but it's public anyway. So yeah. So what am I saying here? Eventually, is that we need to use the electional astrology when we come, and a lot of new nations will be formed, a lot of new declarations of independence will be formed, a lot of new organizations will be, because Ra is in Aries, and Aries is independence, self-determination, and also army, or guerrilla. And with the raison d'etat, even if this guerrilla this is going to be an army. And what eventually we want the army to do? Do a little fitness and pew, and not have to do anything more, but also not having to be corrupt like Switzerland. And this is why I said, I talked about my own story to tell you, people in Switzerland, that they want to kill themselves, they live in a corrupt country, so they want to kill themselves. If you live around corruption, it's very debilitating. And so this also needs to be addressed in the economy. So yes, and this is my little telltale And again, I'm not an army person. I do astrology. You can disagree with me. You have different, opinions. But that was my humble contribution to the discourse. And thank you for watching.